Yeah, prep's been going great. The preseason. Now we're into our 20-hour week, so it's full go. We really like our team, and I think one of the things we like the most is they really like each other. And any coach that's ever been in this business done knows that that makes our life just a ton easier. But excited. Really would like to get into some competition soon to see how the new kids are really going to blend in. But so far, we're excited and getting ready to roll.
Coach,
Yep.
almost half the team is new from transfers or freshmen.
Yeah.
Talk to me how they've been adjusting to the new system.
Our returning kids have done a fantastic job setting the tone for what our culture is. I think last year was a big step for us in how we were going to do things. So our returns have done great. Our three transfers have been phenomenal. They have experience at the collegiate level. Aaron, Bunny, and Ivy, two JUCO kids, and then a transfer from a kid in our conference. So they're new, but they've been through the battles, so that helps. Our freshman class, this is two freshman classes in a row that we're really excited about. I think you're going to see some of them be able to step in this first year and help us. But the junior college kids and our transfer have done a great job. They've been very willing to accept what our returners have established as our culture. And they've done a great job stepping in and buying into that program. And again, like I said, we have a bunch of great kids that like each other. They like to come to work. And so far, they like the coaches, which, could change in the near future. But we're excited.
And this year you got two big games, Houston, who you already beat last year, Big 12, and then SEC with Texas. Talk to me how those games will help you for conference.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can host Power Four opponents when you're a school of our size, that's impressive. To have two of them in one season. This is a return game with Houston home and home, and they have a new staff, a new program. So it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to play that one here at the Fieldhouse, and then obviously Texas. You're talking about a top 5 perennial program. Coach Schaefer has established a great program up there at Texas. We've been able to play them the last 3 or 4 years. We've got a good relationship with him. Coach Lord and I, we've known him a long time. And the fact that he's willing to come down, I think 2 years ago when we hosted them at the Vipers, I think it caught Vic off guard. I don't think he was prepared to see the kind of support that not only his school has. Obviously, UT has a big fan base down here in the Valley. We saw that with baseball, and now we've seen that with women basketball. But he was blown away by how well the operation was run. And the first thing he said is, we need to make sure that we come back down here. And for Texas to play road games against schools of our size, I think if you look at their schedule in the past 20 years, that just doesn't happen. So kudos to them for being willing to do that. And obviously, it's going to be an uphill challenge with those teams. But the good news about playing schools like that, one, it helps recruiting a ton. We have a lot of kids that when they see that we're willing to play schools like that, and Coach Lord's always done that since he's been here. If you go back and look, we've probably played more Power 4 schools than anybody our size has. And that helps with recruiting, but it also, we're not going to see anything better than that. We're going to be prepared to play anybody, any style, any size, any athleticism, and it's a good eye-opening experience for us. And the fans down here are great. So when we put 8,000 to 10,000 in Vipers Arena when they come in, that place is going to be great.
Coach, you talked about just the mix of returners, transfers, incoming freshmen. At this stage in the season, it's early on. Just what do you want to see from just all of them, come together, trying to gel, just kind of
the biggest thing is competition, and let's see what kind of level of competitor they are. There's going to be a newness when you have that many new kids, but I'm telling you, their attitudes, their ability to be coachable, their ability to listen to our returners and buy into what we're doing has made this so far a pretty easy transition. You don't ever like using the word easy in this profession, but it's went about as well as it could go, and that's kudos to both sides, the returners and the new kids. They like each other. They hang out with each other off the court. But I think our biggest thing is we've enjoyed the competition. We had a good team last year, but we are phenomenally deeper. There's much more competition in practice in a good way, and that's really a good thing because sometimes competition can lead to some hard feelings. These kids will battle each other, and then as soon as the day's over, they understand that we're all trying to do the same thing.
So aside from just depth, and it sounds like just competitive drive among the girls on the team, just what do you think are just some of the strengths for this team this upcoming season?
Well, I think, obviously with Charlotte back, we have good size. We have some young kids behind her, but obviously Charlotte's going to draw a lot of minutes there. But overall, our athleticism, our speed is much stronger than it was before. We've got some great shooters. That freshman class last year, we had 5 of them, 4 of them returned. They can all stripe it. And now we've added with Aaron, our transfer from Houston Christian, really fast, really good with the basketball. We probably have more overall ball handling than we did last year. And then Bunny at the point guard, 5'9", athletic, handles it great, shoots it good enough that makes her really effective driving, but just a bigger point guard, but she's fast. Her nickname's Bunny for a reason. She jumps out of the gym. You guys are going to really enjoy watching her. Ivy at the 4. A transfer from Florida Southwestern JUCO, is long, athletic, fast, big shoes to fill, with Cade leaving, but Ivy's going to do a great job and is a different type of player, more athletic, faster. I think our overall speed will be different, and I think we'll be able to play a little more aggressively, especially defensively, because we have more bodies to throw at people.
And Coach, if you can speak on Charlotte for a second, I mean, she's been doing it since her freshman year, and now she's one of the best bigs in the nation. Just your thoughts on her and just her consistency for these 4 years.
When I saw Charlotte when I was a coach, high school coach in Kansas, and she was a sophomore, and both our teams were at the state tournament. She played behind or with another big kid that ended up going to OU, and that kid got a lot of attention, and Charlotte really didn't. But Charlotte was a worker. Always has been, always will be. Her family has raised her in a very good way that has adapted to sports very well. It's hard to describe Charlotte. You can't say enough good things about Charlotte is what I mean by that. And she's doing a better job of leading vocally. It's not really something she wants to do, but her leadership is by example. The kid's motor never stops. She's a rebounding machine, obviously second leading rebounder last year in the country, behind a kid from LSU that's playing in the WNBA right now. I think the leading returning rebounder, leading double-doubles, and she's done it since she's been here. And each year she's just steadily gotten better and better and better. And I think what we've seen in her is her confidence levels through the roof right now. I think you're going to see a little more offense from her. Not that she didn't perform offensively well, but she feels a little more confident in taking some shots that maybe she wouldn't have took last year. And her overall development is phenomenal. But her as a person is even better. If you guys could hang out with that kid like we get to, great kid. And if there's ever a kid you're going to root for to be successful, it's Charlotte. We're super excited that she's got one more year with us.
And year 2 in the Southland, Coach, just your thoughts on how this year's squad will stack up against the Southland after having competed in there last year.
Yeah, last year was a big year. Anytime you're in your first year, just traveling to new places and the operation side of it, trying to figure out where you're staying, what the timing's going to be. Coaches are big on routines, and sometimes when you're going to new places, you got to figure out what it's going to look like there. We had the most conference wins the school's ever had down here, and I think that's a tribute to our team. The conference is great. There's been a lot of turnover, so I think obviously, you don't want to ever go too high, but this team can compete, and be in the top tier of this conference. But obviously, the old coaching cliche, you got to stay healthy. A lot of things got to go your way. But I think this team is well prepared to battle. Our program is heading in the right direction, and a big part of that is what's going on at the school. I mean, obviously, look where we're standing. This place is phenomenal. I think you're only going to see bigger and better things, but it's a good conference. We've really enjoyed this conference. I think it fits well for us, at least on the women's basketball side, and we're excited to go compete and see if we can bring home a championship.
Coach, what are you telling your team early on, right? Because the conference games, they're over before you know it, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes it gets very tight at the end.
Yeah.
So what are you going to tell them early on to have them have the hot start?
Yeah, first you play your non-conference, but if you've paid attention, there's always at least 2 or 3 conference games in the first semester. I think we have one really early, the way the schedules come out. So you can't waste them. Last year we got off to a good start. We beat SFA at home. Now we're going to go to their place right out of the gate. It's kind of become a very intense rivalry with that group. They've always been successful, and we've always been able to clip them at least once in a year. And I think to establish ourselves at the top of the conference, those are the kind of teams we got to beat. What we have to get better at is making sure we're taking care of business in games that are maybe not against that top level, and making sure that we're consistent enough. I think a big part of that we'll see different this year is our depth and our ability to do that. Sometimes we just got beat down last year, and the numbers weren't great. We had some injuries. You can't, the cliche, one game at a time. Sometimes if you feel like at the end of the year you lost a big game, but it might have been 2 games at the beginning of the year that cost you the opportunity to be in the right place. So I think we try and stress that with them, that they got to be ready to go every day. And again, this group's really competitive, so I think they'll do that.
In addition to the obvious with Charlotte returning, you also have a couple of those key freshmen
Yeah.
from last year that you mentioned. Gianna's going to come back after her season kind of stopped a little early with an injury.
Right.
Kayla ended up stepping up really good there. Like,
Right.
what have you seen from that group and how they've changed with the year under them?
Yeah, sometimes your sophomore year is the hard year. Freshman, there's not a ton of expectation. But our 4 sophomores, and then Maddie, our returner, who's a junior, man, they work their tails off, and that's really the way to get through some tough times. It hurt us last year. Gianna missed a significant part at the end of the year. She ended up being our 3rd leading scorer, and when you lose that on a team that's not extremely deep or relying on a bunch of freshmen, that was a blow. But she's healthy. She's doing great. She's providing leadership as a sophomore, which is a challenge sometimes, but she's doing a great job. Kayla really stepped up, and the one thing you know about Kayla, she can just flat shoot the basketball. And I mean, as soon as she walks in the gym, that's her MO. But they've done a good job competing. They've done a good job accepting the new kids. They don't feel threatened because they work really hard, and they see that the new kids are working really hard, and they understand what our goals are. But I think those 4 returning freshmen plus Maddie give us a good base. They had a lot of good experience as freshmen. And you talk about second year in the Southland, well, now it's their second year in college, so I think they're much more prepared. They know what they're going to do. And the one thing about that group, they aren't scared of anything. I mean, they could miss 4 times in a row. It does not faze them. They think they're going to make the next shot. And that's not something you really teach kids. That's something that just comes from inside and mainly from preparation. And they just spend a ton of, they're gym rats. They spend a ton of time in the gym. So, good question.
All right, so then final question, just what do you kind of expect the identity of this team to be, and what can fans expect when they come into the gym watch you guys play?
Well, I think, last year, in the last few years, we've established that the team's going to compete, they're going to fight. I think that fits right in with the culture of what the Valley is. I think our fans want to see that. They want to see teams that with some grit and toughness and want to go after people and aren't afraid of things. I think we've established that. So I think you'll see more of that. I just think you'll see a deeper group, and I think you're going to see a faster group. I think we're going to be able to do some things that might be more entertaining to the eyeball for fans, and hopefully we can turn that into effectiveness on the court from the coaching standpoint. But really, really fun group. I like watching teams that you can tell like each other, that will dive on the ball for each other, and then somebody's running over there to help them up because they care about each other. This team will do that, and I think when we get in a real competitive setting, you're going to see a team that bonds together and represents the Valley the right way, and something that our fans are going to be proud of.